I'm going to talk about how lacrosse goalies can get ready for lacrosse season quickly. Okay, so no matter when your season starts, and for those of you guys listening, just let me know when's your season starting for you. I know I've got some Lacrosse Goal University members. They're starting, in a couple weeks down in Florida. Others of you obviously are a little bit later, but let me know. Just put in the comments. Just say what month you're starting, or maybe on a 1 month and a date if you got it. All right, so here's what your lacrosse goalie can do. So I don't care if you've got 2 weeks or if you got 3 months before the season start. Every goalie feels the same way. All right, obviously, if you've got 3 months to get ready for the season, we can do strength and conditioning programs. We can maximize that in 3 months. That's a good chunk of time. Even 60 days, we can really help kind of kickstart an athlete to get ready for a season. But most of the time when I get asked this question, a goalie hasn't done enough over the winter. They feel out of shape. They're feeling like they're behind the 8 ball. And so these are my tips to help get a goalie ready for the season. So the number one thing for your goalie to have a phenomenal tryout or get ready for preseason or anything like that, the first thing first is to be rested, okay? And that always surprises people when that's my suggestion because but the truth is that if your goalie is rested, they have the chance to be as explosive they can possibly be. Like neurologically, they're ready to go. And so, I worked with a high school goalie last year about this time who was getting ready for the season. And this goalie was good. This goalie had skills, but he was exhausted, right? For a lot of the parents I know, my kids, especially over the holidays, they go nocturnal, right? And that's totally okay. I want you guys to understand that, especially for boys at the age of about 14 or so, they start, their system is nocturnal. And what sucks is that we got to send them to school at 8 o'clock in the morning, right? I mean, how many of you would agree that you'd rather let your kids sleep for another 2 hours, work commitments aside, then wake them up out of bed. Like I get my son out of bed every morning at 6:30 for school, and my daughter too, right? And so she's like 11. So so getting rested. So this goalie that I was working with, he was exhausted. And what I told him was, I said, listen, don't worry about lacrosse. Just get some sleep and your body will take care of itself. And it's true. So what this goalie did was he totally took the advice, which was awesome. And he started doing other things. He just adopted the habit of getting to bed earlier at night so that he would have more hours of sleep. And by adopting that one habit, what he ended up doing was he was looking for other things. And so at lunchtime, he actually skipped off from his friends for a half hour and he got homework done, so he didn't have to do it at home. And he started doing a lot of other stuff like that. And so he had extra time to rest and recover. And he said his grades went up and all that good stuff too. And so by the time that preseason came, which was a few weeks, he wrote me this. He goes, I used to crush a Monster Energy or a Red Bull before every single practice. He goes, now I don't even bother because I'm so ready to go. All right. And so I want, your goalie to understand, make sure they're rested. And that's going to be awesome. Second thing, if they're going to start doing things like, the tendency for athletes as they get closer to the season is to work even harder, right? They're trying to cram, right? So think stimulation, not annihilation, right? So like I said, the tendency for athletes is to work harder, more weights, more running, more shots, and lacrosse goalies are no different. Like every athlete tries to do this, but what I tell my athletes is lacrosse season is not like a spelling test. You can't cram for this, so don't try. All right. If you're taking shots or running with teammates or hitting the gym, think stimulate, not annihilate. The goal for the goalie is to get the nervous system primed, not overwhelmed. Okay. So don't seek getting sore, right? This is what, a lot of people don't understand about training, especially for high twitch athletes, right? Fast twitch athletes, is we need them. We're not seeking to get their ass kicked, right? This is where, The Biggest Loser and Orange Theory and companies like that, make you think like the only way you've gotten a good workout is if you're exhausted. And that's not true. All right. It's just totally not true. So the question I get is like people say, well, like, oh, but Coach Edwards, like our coach is going to have all sorts of running drills and burpees and all sorts of that stuff. Like it's going to suck. And I get it. It is going to suck. I hope that your coach understands that the 80s called and they want his Indian runs back. All right. You guys all remember those when we were young, right? Coach preseason, like everyone's running miles. Those days are gone. Right. And so I hope your coach is open to the idea that, like, listen, fine, let your middies run, let your D run, let your attack run, but let your goalies go over here and do sets of 10-yard sprints, right? Or let them do like, lateral hops or long jumps or things like that or whatever. But, your goalie is not the same athlete as your middie is. So don't train them that way. Right. And so for some of you, I get it. You're going to have a fight on your hands with that sort of thing, or you're not going to have a chance to have that discussion with your coach because he'll be like, oh, everybody's got to do the same stuff. I'm like, no, dude, like forget it. That's just really disappointing. So think stimulation, not annihilation. Okay. Number 3, work on your stick skills. All right. So one thing that every goalie can do, is just work on their stick skills. So no matter how much of a break I ever took from lacrosse in high school, when I got my lacrosse stick back in my hands, sure, I was a little rusty, but it would just go, I'd be like, oh, I got this, right? And so it also, the break away from my stick, the break away from lacrosse allowed me to feel the difference in my body over the course of however long it was. I could feel stronger. I felt like I could throw the ball further or quicker, or I could cradle it stronger, things like that, whatever it was, but I could feel that difference. That was really inspiring. All right. So I want your goalie to work on their stick skills. Now, it doesn't have to be their goalie stick, right? Carrying around a goalie stick can be cumbersome. I get it. Sometimes they don't even fit into school lockers, right? So get your goalie a short stick if they don't have one already. Now, for the girls, make sure they're not using a flat stick. Get them a boy's pocket in a short stick so they can work on all the things they need to work on with their hands, right? And then get some tennis balls and start throwing against walls, right? If your goalie has a wall, like we should post those photos in the group. I think that'd be kind of fun to see. Like, what's your goalie's wall look like? For me, it was my mom's pine cabinets in the kitchen. And when they would go off at night, like my dad was a choral conductor and they had church choir and stuff. I'd get out my lacrosse stick with a tennis ball and I'd fire it against the drawers in the bottom cabinets, right? But they were pine, they weren't MDF, so you've all been warned. Okay. So stick skills, that's number 3. Just get a stick in your hand, right? Don't sweat it. Just because I believe that every great goalie has great stick skills, and you can maximize your ability to be a better goalie by maximizing your stick skills first, not thinking that, oh, I'm just a ball stopper and I'll work on my stick skills later. No. When you have a goalie who's got good stick skills, lots of doors open. Okay. So number 4, if you're going to lift, right? If a goalie is going to lift, they should lift heavy. All right. And so a little disclaimer though, if you haven't lifted at all, then don't start this now. But just know that to stimulate fast twitch muscle fibers, that comes from lifting heavy, right? So higher loads, sets of 3. And I take kids as young as 12 years old and I start teaching them how to lift heavy, right? With good form. Okay. So you're not going to strunk growth plates. You're not going to, they're not going to be like 4 feet tall. That's old school thinking. It's not true. It just doesn't work that way. Right. But we want to stimulate the muscle fibers to be fast twitch and explosive. All right. And that happens with high loads, low repetitions. Okay. But again, stimulate, don't annihilate. If you got any questions, like if I can help you with strength and conditioning work, you can email me, coachedwards@lacrossegoalietips.com, and I can talk to you about strength and conditioning programs for your goalie if you need that. Okay. Number 5, last one. All right. Holy smokes. Your goalie needs to just believe in themselves. Okay. I could put this at number 1, but a lot of times people wouldn't even listen to me if I put it at number 1. But your goalie must believe in themselves, right? And I know that's really hard, especially in this day and age. Like kids are super, they're super negative. Like it's not cool to be cool or to be aspiring or achieving. It's a real, there's a real drag on kids who want to be better, and our goalies need to be better. Right. And so I want them to have a belief in themselves. I'd say a lot of the goalies that I work with in Lacrosse Goalie University, that's part of the thing we're working on is developing their belief in themselves. And And so if your goalie, and let me start by this with all my parents. If you believe your goalie is going to be ready, they're going to be ready. If you don't believe your goalie is going to be ready, then they're not going to be ready. So the belief starts with the parent. All right, especially with their younger guys and girls, and it can't be like a false, like, oh, you're gonna do great, honey. No, it's like, yo, listen, all right, you took the break off. Coach Edwards says that break's going to help you. And here's why. Boom, boom, boom. Right. Or you played hockey this winter, or you played, you did underwater basket weaving, like, whatever. Like you just gotta make sure that their belief is there. For me, every season, it was normal to come into the season going like, holy smokes, am I going to remember how to play lacrosse or stop balls? And within a couple days, that was totally taken care of, right? I knew that I was going to be fine, and I was back on path because I wanted to be an All-American, and that was my goal, and that was my focus. I knew I was going to be a little rusty, but then boom, I was better than I was the year before, and that's going to happen for your goalie too. Okay, so make sure that's the case. But make sure as mom and dad that you're there going like, all right, let's do this, right? And this is how it's going to go. Okay, so long first one for 2020. I hope all of you guys have had a phenomenal break. Some of you guys are starting in February. Some of you guys are starting in January, I see, which is great. Josh Krogman up in Seattle, you're on the 4th in February, which is cool. So, and I want you just to have the best season ever, and we're going to make it happen. If I can help you with that, with coaching for your goalies, like I do with lots of my goalies every year, come join Lacrosse Goalie University. All right. If you want to talk about it, you can book a call with me, lacrossegoalietips.com/call. And we can talk about laying out a plan for your goalie for this season so that they have the best season ever. Okay. But, yeah, I'm happy to do that. So thank you everybody who checked into this first Facebook Live of 2020. Super excited. Joel Rose, that's all I've got. What, Joel Rose, you need more? You need more than that? What else do you need? What, you thought I was going to give you some sort of whiz-bang magic wand there? What else do you need there, Joel? Just send me a note and I'll get back to you. But great stuff. So I'm excited. We started this group about 9 months ago. We're over 800 members, and I would be well over thousands of members if people just answered the damn 3 questions I give them. So if you run into somebody who, maybe you referred them to this group and they said they tried to join and they didn't get in, that's why they're not in. They didn't answer the 3 questions. So, but man, I'm excited for you all and your goalies, and I'm looking forward to hearing everybody's progress as we go along. And for all my Lacrosse Goalie University members, this is going to be a great year. All right, so let's get started. So listen, in about 15, 20 minutes or so at 2:45, I'll be rolling into my other Facebook group, Raising High-Performing Athletes. Like I mentioned, we're going to be talking about Parkinson's Law, and which is probably something you've never heard discussed in athletic circles before. So I'm excited about that. So check it out, and I'll see you guys next week. Cheers. Bye.